Hey, everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Angela Olfest, a full time voice actor and audiobook narrator. This channel is dedicated to those new voice actors and audiobook narrators who are looking for a little bit more information about voice acting and audiobook narration. And I also share some of my own trial and error, so hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about Fiverr. Now, as you have your gigs up in Fiverr, and there is an ebb and flow to Fiverr orders. There really is. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. That's just the way that it goes. But if you find that your Fiverr gigs are just going down, they go down, and that they continually ebb, but maybe not so much flow, what you need to do is go into your Fiverr gigs and adjust your titles, your tags, your description, and maybe even consider updating your demos. So what we're going to do today is take a look at one of my Fiverr gigs, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's get to it. All right, so what we're looking at here is my audiobook gig, and it has been doing okay. However, I want to update my gig title, my SEO title, and I'm also going to update my search tags. And just so you know, when you narrate audiobooks, there are a couple of different categories that you could use. I use voiceover because it still works fairly well for me, but you can always change it to audiobook production. But I'm going to leave it in voiceover now because I have pretty good results with people finding me in voiceover, but you can always change it to audiobook production as well. I would try it in one category for about a month or two and see how you do, but you could always change it to audiobook production and see if that, if that lifts your impressions at all or gets you any more orders, but you have that option. So, your SEO title is always going to be pretty close to what your gig title is going to be. I have mine now as narrate and format your audiobook for ACX Audible because typically that's what people are looking for is the words narrate, format, ACX, and Audible, and even audiobook. So I had added all of these elements in here. You can make your title whatever you want it to be. But your SEO title needs to be fairly close. Now, you're only limited to about 50 characters, and that includes spaces. So make sure that your SEO title is fairly close to your gig title. And then your search tags, a lot of people search for audiobook as one word, and then they also search for it as two separate words. So you could definitely try audiobook as two separate words. Let me put it back in here. I also add ebook as a search tag, narrate, narrator, and female voice. However, I have been told by my Fiverr success coach that narrate, any of the words that you have in your title don't need to be here again in your search tags. Your search tags are going to help the algorithm further separate you from other people on Fiverr. So, what I'm going to do, since I have the word narrate in my gig title, I'm going to get rid of narrate in my search tags and we're going to choose a different tag. Let's see, I'm going to change it to how about conversational maybe? And usually the first one that pops up is the first suggestion here is going to be what is most searched for. So I'm going to try, let's see, conversation. I'm just going to go with conversational and see if that helps. Female voice, I'm going to leave that there. Narrator, I'm going to get rid of narrator and add, let's see, natural, and see if that helps at all. I'm going to save that. You must save it every time you make a change before you leave the page. Otherwise, it will not save. And then I'm going to go to, my pricing stays the same. I never change my pricing for audiobooks. But my description, let's see. I'm going to update this to 70 plus. I'm going to make a couple of ACX. Let's see if you have I'm going to leave my description as it is because I like what it says. And if you don't have your FAQs filled out, I highly recommend that you do. I would definitely, at the very least, make something in there about your revision policy. Clearly state your revision policy because people will ask about your revisions. And if you offer one revision and it's in your revision policy, then if someone comes back and asks you for a second or third, you can always reference your revision policy is clearly stated in your FAQs and that you charge extra for additional revisions. So I would definitely fill out those FAQs. At the very, very, very least, have a revision policy in there. The next thing I would look at is in your gallery section. If you don't have a video, I highly recommend having a video because they do say that videos can increase user engagement by 40%. Although personally, the audio of the gig video is not that great because of the whole compression on the network. Everything is compressed. And if it's a video, obviously it's a larger file, so it's compressed a little bit, which makes the audio sound a little bit weird. I have brought this up to Fiverr before, and they have fixed it once before, and it does sound a little bit better, but to me, it's not indicative of what we actually sound like. So I'm hoping somewhere down the line they'll address this issue, especially for voice actors. It's very, very important. But if the client gets past the video, they still have all of your other samples that you have created. And once you start to have orders done, those clients have the ability to showcase the work that you did for them in their review. And then those samples will be added to your live portfolio as well. So people will actually get to see, or hear rather, what you sound like apart from your video. But I also recommend trying to have as much in here as possible. See, I can even add one more photo if I want to, and I probably will. But have a video, have your gig photos, have some audio, and then you can also upload some PDFs. And my PDFs here is basically what I offer. It's a breakdown of my equipment. And then the other one here is the step-by-step process and the audiobook production. So it gives the client a little bit of insight as to what happens when they place an order and how I complete their audiobook, the production process. So I'm not going to change anything right now. However, I probably will come back in here and add another gig photo. But for right now, I'm going to leave this gallery as it is, but I'm going to save just in case. But really what I wanted to talk about was the titles, the search tags, and your description. But once you make a change, if you don't see an immediate improvement, don't stress out. It usually takes a little bit of time for the algorithm to catch up. Usually I see a dip before I see an increase in impressions. So don't panic and change your titles and tags every week. Give it a little bit of time. Give it a good month or two to see if there's any improvement. And if there isn't, then you can go back in and maybe slightly tweak something or other. And this does help. I know it takes a little bit of time for, like I said, the algorithm to catch up to your changes, but it does help. This is a constant thing because trends change, terminology changes, like the trend and use of terminology changes. So you're going to have to go in and change your gigs from time to time. But if they're doing very, very well, leave it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. This is only something you would do if your gigs are, consistently dropping in your impressions are dropping. But if you're doing fine and you're happy with the business that you're getting from that gig, I would leave it alone. Don't do anything. Don't change that algorithm on your gig. Just leave it be. So, if you have any questions for me or comments, please leave them down below. Jump on over to my website, voiceoverangela.com. I've got a lot of great information there. I've got a private group, and everyone there is very supportive and just awesome. And I have recommended gear there. I've got some courses. I've also recently joined up with my former coach, Anthony Pica, and I am now a certified VO's Journey coach. So if you go over to his website at vosjourney.com, you can find me there for an hour-long session on audiobook narration. I also have 30-minute sessions on my website for a Q&A via Zoom, if you prefer. So thank you very much for your time and for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.